Going on, family? Welcome to Lapeef-ING Sundays. Let me introduce the crew. We got Quest. We got Jay, Carmen, Hink, Yawa. Am I saying it right? I always mess it up. Me, myself, Lapeef, Jay, welcome to Lapeef-ING Sundays. How y'all doing, family? How y'all doing?
Good.
We all good. We all good. I'm just trying to figure out what happened last week for certain people's team. That's all I'm trying to figure out, JR.
Oh yeah, I remember that, man. I think we had a discussion about that.
I guess the trash didn't get taken out, huh?
Hey, look, let me tell you something. We ain't have no receivers. Our starting receivers all on hurt list. They all on the hurt list. And we still almost came back. Come on, man. We walked into the end zone. We walked into the end zone.
He ain't gonna listen.
All right, bro.
Jay, I see what the trash really is. It's at Quest house with all that shit he talking. Man, he talking about excuses. You need to take that shit up to the curb.
Okay. Hey, look. Hey, hit me in my DM, man. What's up? Y'all trying to put a little paper on it? Gentleman's bet, not no major money. We talking $5, $10. Just gentleman's bet. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on. Let me look at the schedule and see what's going on with the schedule. This, I kind of retired from putting those bids in, but let me see.
Yeah, no, we got Kansas City. We got Kansas City today.
Oh, you got Kansas? Oh,
yeah. That's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah, looking at it
right
now.
Do it today? Is that what you trying to do? Team for team?
I mean,
I don't know. Like, I'm with it. Fuck it. Come on, let's go.
What you trying to do?
What y'all want to put 20 on it?
We can put a dub on it. What's happening?
All right. So what's the grounds? If your team lose, you got to give me and Hink 20. And if the Bears lose, then we got to give.
Yeah, but if they both lose and wipe the bet out, we ain't got to worry about it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, if they both win, the bet wiped out. We ain't got to worry about it.
No, Jay. 20. We're not gonna settle for that. I want 40, 20 a game.
Hold on, bro. God damn it, we just talked about having some.
No. You talk that shit now, Quest. Your receivers are back. Mike's off suspension. No excuses. Play ball, baby.
Actually, I don't know if Julio back.
I thought you had to go. I thought you had to go.
We'll put a dub on it, man. Hit me in my DMs. We'll talk about it later.
Okay, shit, I'm with it. I'm with it.
In other words, that bet won't be made.
That's what it sounds like, man. I think he fearing Kansas over there. I think he's poor with the receivers being down. Yeah, I think it's what it. Anyhow, we have to get this show started. What up, Jay?
What's good? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you good, man. We started talking about that, and then you had disappeared on us, man. I said, "Oh, Jay don't even want no part of
it." Nah, that's not the case, man.
Who your team, Jay? The Jets, Link?
The Giants, man. The Giants.
What they playing? That's gonna be a good game, man. Yeah. So you trying to get out on this bet too, or what?
Nah, not right now. Y'all don't have no confidence.
That's right. Jay's a smart man. Jay's a smart man.
No confidence, man.
All right, ladies. Our apologies. I know we had a little bit. I mean, it's football. You know what time it is, so you guys were able to witness a little bit of the conversation that we do have. If you're tuning in, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor, Teach Handling Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. 30% off along with a free gift. That link is in the description. And if you want to become a member, I did pin that to the top of the chat as well. Members do have special perks, especially when it comes to the shows. And it's going to be some other goodies I'm predicting in the fourth quarter of the year that we're going to be doing for members because we appreciate y'all. So shout out to the Green Gang. I see Doug Will already. $5 question. Boy, Brady killing my fantasy team. Tampa, get it together.
Hey, don't worry. You gonna win by betting on them. You may not win every time, but overall you gonna win betting on Brady. Come on now. My city looking up, baby.
We're gonna see.
Shout out to Will, Chat Ninja NCO. We see you, boy.
Yeah, shout out to you and thanks for that. I see Matt G is back to his regular name, but shout out to Mac G. Say hit that like button. Again, family, hit that like button if you haven't already. Let's go ahead and get the show started. Welcome to Lapeef-ING Sundays. It's a little bit mild over here on these days, so we're gonna go ahead and breeze through this. First topic of the day. I should have had this queued up already. Anybody got any Sunday plans besides football, gentlemen, ladies? Kind of include you guys in there. Any plans? What, cooking?
Working.
Working? Okay.
Working. Oh man.
That's
Taking
Yeah,
kids
that
to the
storm.
park.
We recovering from that storm down here, man. That storm
Where
came
you
from
at, Jay?
Florida. I'm in South Carolina, so
Okay,
that joint
okay.
hit. That joint hit Florida, Georgia. We ain't get it terrible, but bad enough. You know what I mean?
Hey, yo, hey, shout out to all the chat ninjas that reached out too. I had my DMs was flooded with people asking like, yo, hey Quest, you and your family doing all right? You know what I mean? The storm coming. I know it's getting ready to hit Tampa. Da da da. Shout out to y'all, man. I fucking love y'all chat ninjas, bro. Y'all the greatest chat on YouTube. You hear me? Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Right on, baby. Right
Yeah,
on.
shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. All right, let's go ahead and get this show started. I'm ready. We got the first link.
I don't think my husband respects my position as stepmom.
Let's talk about that.
Your children, the ones that I did not create, they're allowed to do what you do. They sleep all day. They don't come out of the room. They don't do what
Wait
they
a
need to
minute,
do.
hold up. I want you to come over here. I want you to watch this. Let me show you something. Go sit over there. I have a little concern because your sons are not demonstrating that they are learning to be the kind of man I know you want them to be. They're going to demonstrate the kind of man you teach them to be. And I'm not really sure what to do about that. Can you hear me? Mm-hmm. That's how you do that. The woman has to talk to her man to get him to move the way she needs him to move. You're not gonna get nothing with that. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a video, but I don't be tripping sometimes with the content. So just wanted to play the audio. But men actually do listen. You just have to communicate without yelling and lose the attitude. I did see a few comments that was going on with that, where some people felt as though she was talking to him like a child. And I don't know if any of you guys kind of picked up on that, but let's just have a conversation, dude. If a woman has a certain tone, a certain delivery, are men willing to listen? What are your thoughts?
If he's a rational man, then absolutely he'll listen. I mean, you're never gonna get anything out of most men by degrading them. You know what I mean? Saying stuff like they're like you, they just sleep all day, and you know what I mean? Like, you're never gonna get anywhere like that. That's not productive. But if you're trying to be productive, if you want him to hear you, if you want him to listen to you, you're gonna change up your approach. Because we'll hear you all day, but if you want him to listen, you got to come at a way that sounds like you're trying to be productive and corrective. You know what I mean?
I just think that's effective communication for anybody, for any human being. That's how we should be talking to anybody, including kids. You don't get anything if you're screaming to a kid. They're gonna do it because they're afraid, but it's not like they're respecting what you're asking them to do. And I've heard what you said, like, oh, she's talking to him like a child. So if we put it the other way around, then you will say that he's talking to her as a child. It's just the same thing. It's just effective communication. That's how we should be talking to people.
Go ahead, Carmen.
When you said talking to him like a child, were you talking about his woman or the second lady?
No, his woman. I think they were saying that actually the second lady. So when she was demonstrating how to talk to him, some of the people in the chat was thinking that it was being talked about like a child. But if I had my pick, I think I would rather have it that way. I think men just want to be heard, and I'm gonna go ahead and get to you. I think they would just want to be heard. Whereas that if you start off in a relationship where you're not listening, then and try to talk to her again and she's not listening to you, at some point in time, the guy's going to shut down. He's just not going to tell you shit. So I think women have to keep that in mind, that some men just want to be heard. But go ahead, Carmen. My apologies.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that it's a little bit being too soft and coddling is kind of like you said, almost like a child. But I agree that men do listen if you communicate well, without the attitude, without this sort of provocative demeanor. But I also kind of think the whole premise of trying to, like when she said, when you are trying to get him to move the way you need him to move, I think is a little bit of an off premise for a woman trying to get on the same like page as her man. I think that when we try to correct him and when we're already approaching him as though we know what's right, I think that's already off and more likely to create more tension rather than get to a point of being able to move forward effectively.
All right. Brother Hink.
Well, I mean, I don't understand this. How somebody thinks just talking to him like a child because she's being respectful. I mean, people in chat feel like you're talking to a child, and y'all just so used to being talked to toxically and yelled at, and I guess I don't know, abused, verbally abused, because that makes no sense. I'd rather you talk to me like that. Now, if I feel like you're being condescending, then I'll say that. But to me, that wasn't that. I didn't get that. I didn't get that condescending type tone. She was talking to me in a respectful manner, like a man should talk to another person, or a woman who should talk to another woman, or a man should talk to a woman. That's how it sounds to me. Now, as far as you talking like yelling at a child, it depends on the child. Everybody knows their own kid, and if you know your child is, you have to tell them 2 or 3 times. I'm not going to keep talking in a calm tone the second and third time. I'm not going to. You know what I'm saying? So the first time, I'm going to come to you respectful. Hey, man, I need you to go take the trash out, okay? I come back 20 minutes later. The trash ain't out. Hey, dude, get your ass up and go take out that goddamn trash. That's what's going to happen. And there's no third time. So, it depends on your kids and who you're talking to. But as a man, I promise you, ladies don't want us to talk to you the way that woman talked to him. Because then, you're going to be called toxic. You're going to be called, you're going to be called all type of names. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's not going to end well. So, no, don't come at men like that. Especially certain type men. I mean, they might bark back at you, and you might not like what they say.
Okay. Hey, Quest, what are your thoughts about that reaction to the video and just in general? Do you think men open up and listen if the woman is communicating without yelling and attitude?
Yeah, I mean, clearly. I mean, I got to agree with Saida. Like, I think that's just natural human behavior, right? We all respond better when, we're approached with respect and dignity. You know what I'm saying? That's just general. But I don't know. I think the root of it is a lot of us, especially people from our community, right? We raised hearing a lot of hollering and screaming in our households, and that later on translates into relationships. You know what I'm saying? So if we being the change right now, right, the effective change, right, we're the ones that have kids that are young, things like that. If we communicate to them how they're supposed to be communicated to, be communicated with, and as you can hear my son coming up in the background, if we talk to them how, we like with respect, they're gonna grow up to be able to treat their loved ones or people they out here dating on the market and things like that with respect. I mean, it's a cycle. So I think the reason why people are getting treated like that is because they grew up seeing it. I mean,
All right. Go ahead, Jay.
And real quick, like, for the sake of her teaching, for the sake of entertainment, and for the sake of it actually being like a TV show, she was breaking it down slow because she was teaching. You know what I mean? So she wasn't intentionally trying to sound like she's treating them like a child. She was saying, this is a option in getting your point across. You know what I mean? So she broke it down so that the woman will understand, you know.
Agreed. She does a really good job when it comes to breaking those little points down. Yeah, she do a good job with that. What's her name?
Ayala Van
Ayala.
Zandt.
That Van Zandt. There you go.
Yeah, and then also to piggyback on what you guys are saying, because we often talk about when a woman, like the woman needs to be in her feminine state at all times. So it doesn't matter like what environment she in, how chaotic it gets, she needs to remain that way. The same thing goes for guys as well. When things get chaotic, when a woman is, raising it up, in my opinion, I think in most cases men need to remain a certain level, because I've been in situations where some women expect for you to react back to them. And when you don't react to them in that nature, it's only one person looking like a fool at that time. And especially, I mean, like there's things that you can do, and I understand people get agitated, right? I'm not going to deal with this shit, but there's a certain thing that you can do where, are you okay? Wow, I just didn't even know it had to get to this point, and it would just hit that nerve because they want the rah rah rah, but you're not going to get it.
Yeah,
You're
but
not gonna
that shit be touching their nerves a little hard too. You be like, "Is everything okay?" You say that little condescending shit. They be ready to scratch your eyes out.
like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're trying to do. And typical. I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Say, I know my man Quest was a victim of that. We're not gonna say. We're gonna leave it at that.
I ain't be. Sunday was a different type of vibe, man. It's
Hey, look.
we got
that's why I'm here on Sunday. I had to get
in the back, and So we
I had to get away from them terrorists, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave it alone, though. We're gonna leave
it
alone.
But the thing to take away from this is, yes, it's okay to learn. So even if that has been the case in your household, just test it and try it out. Well, it's just with women in period. Just always practice being that calm, cool, collective, even tone person, just across every communication. Now, if it has to go there, you can just elevate even with your kids, because we have had that conversation as well, where I grew up in the household, it was yelling. All my mother did was yell. And so that's all I knew. And as I got older, when I started to see how people responded different, and I've mentioned to you guys before, I didn't know what femininity was. So when I actually seen it and witnessed it, it was just like, damn, what the hell is that? I'm not used to that. Just like I'm not used to just using a certain tone with your child in order to get the point across instead of yelling. Same thing with spankings. I don't know if you guys believe in spankings, but I grew up in a household where they tap that ass quick. But if I could do it all over again, I would have led with the tone. And I actually have incorporated that with my kids, So the older ones, they didn't really grasp it because it didn't start at a younger age. But I think if you start off that way with your tone, even in relationships, if you start off a certain way in the beginning, then it's going to be less stress on you on the back end.
I wanted to say that.
I was going to say, I know another thing is, as individuals, man, you just got to know your partner, your wife or your husband, whatever the case may be. And you definitely got to respect their wishes and their space. So, I mean, you got to think, if somebody's maybe not in the mood to have that conversation right now, you got to respect that. You understand what I'm saying? Don't sit there and try to force and make the conversation happen when they're not in the mood to make it happen, because it could be bad. Now you forcing this individual in a corner, and now they or whoever the case may be could say something they really probably don't mean, but they say it out of frustration or anger. So, hey, I always try to respect your partner's space. You know what I'm saying? If they sit there and let you know, and if they're a good communicator, they'll let you know, hey, it's just not the time right now. Can we table this? But can we talk about it later? I need a moment. You understand what I'm saying? Don't try to press the issue on individuals, because, like I said, it could come out bad, and they could say some hurtful shit. That tongue's a mother.
Yeah, and just to piggyback again, Hank, off what you're saying, make sure the conversation is had. And I know we spoke about that before, where you put something in the parking lot for a little bit and you just never get to it, and that's when that buildup comes. So just try to just try to face it. And I think as we work to be better communicators and communicate better, I think that that's something that we should put at the forefront as well.
For sure, for sure. Like they always say, it's a time and place for everything. So just keep that in mind.
What you about to say, Jay?
No, I was saying I think that's a cultural thing, man. You know, and I'm proud of, like, I have a lot of my male friends have kids, and they are, you know, what I would consider good fathers. And I hear them, you know, interacting with their kids, letting them speak their mind, you know, letting them say how they feel and then working through it, you know, whereas we didn't grow up like that. You know what I'm saying?
Hell no, we ain't grow up like that.
We grew up with them 60s, you know, me and a few of my friends, we grew up with them 60s dads, you know what I mean? The afro and the attitude problem, you know, grew up in that era where they was just no nonsense. They ruled the household with an iron fist. You know what I mean?
Feelings?
So exactly. So, you know, and even me, like, I'll be, you know, we'll be playing the game, I'll be on the headset and I hear the kids in the background acting up, and I'm the type, I'm like, yo, dog, you know, waxing that ass, like, what's going on? Handle that, you know. But I'm proud that they don't, because that's just me on how I came up, you know, whereas they're letting them back there, they're talking, they're saying how they feel. Oh, I feel this way, I feel, and I think that's healthy, yo, because in your adulthood, I'm sure y'all know so many people that are terrible communicators. And that's why they're terrible communicators, because they were never given the platform to actually articulate what these emotions are. Even if it sounds crazy coming out, say it, and then we'll work through it. Well, why do you feel this way? Well, what happened today that made you feel this way? Well, what are you going to do about it? How are we going to resolve this to make you feel better? You know what I mean? Like, that's very important, because you have some adults that are just, you like, dog, how did you make it to this age without being assassinated? Like, it's crazy.
I know another thing. If you don't have means or the ability to communicate, do not get in a relationship. It's not going to work, because that is a key thing, is communication. And if you can't figure out how to talk to somebody, interact with somebody, man, you're gonna have problems.
Yeah, nah, I agree. Go get you some therapy. Therapy damn near free at this point. You know what I'm saying? Go get you some therapy before you go jumping yourself into a relationship.
Therapy and
and
maybe a public speaking class or two, something.
that too. You know what I mean? Especially if you're talking about trying to get into a relationship that you want to stand the test of time. Like I always say, bro, you're right. Hank, you spot on. Communication is key. I got a couple of my homeboys right now, and you know, like I say this, they ain't as good communicators as I am, right? Like these dudes is real chill and mellow. Most of my friends are chill and mellow. I'm usually the more, you know, turned up one, the more cranked up on whatever. Yeah. You already know what time it is. But those dudes typically are the ones that be having issues when it come to like communicating with their old ladies and shit. And they be like, their old ladies would be like, Quest, why the fuck these niggas just can't talk like how you be talking? Da 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 da. I'm like, these dudes, they not like that, bro. But you knew this when you picked them. Also, ladies, remember that you pick these men as they are, right? Does that mean that they don't always strive to be better? No, that does not mean that. That does not absolve them of always constantly trying to be great, right? But at the same time, you have to have patience with these men. You pick these niggas. Ladies on the panel, is that fair?
Yeah, I was actually going to say something along those lines with regard to, you know, I think for us women, a lot of times it's really challenging because we are so inclined to over communicate. And then when we're trying to figure things out with a man or get to the bottom of things or even just express ourselves for him to listen, I think men do have a tendency to shut down and write things off as soon as it starts being a lot of feelings. So for us women, I think it can be really challenging to find that balance of being able to effectively communicate the core of our feelings without a lot of like fireworks and shit stuff on top, to try to, and even still sometimes, like, you know, again, just having that sort of consideration that men are people too, and they may not have I mean, we don't necessarily have the best communication tactics either, but they may not have the most receptive habits when it comes to listening to feelings and things. So just trying to find that. I mean, I agree, just trying to find that balance, but being considerate that a lot, men do have that tendency. So trying to, I think that it does us a disservice as women when we try to not make it about feelings, especially with like the trending topics and everything now being all the time about how, women just speak in feelings. But I mean, that is kind of the creature we are, right? So I think that if we try to necessarily work against that, it doesn't really work in our favor trying to communicate with men, because then we're trying to kind of alter the core of what's really bothering us, versus I think, again, just being more considerate of how we're communicating and trying to eliminate all of the extra stuff on top so that doesn't inflame the situation. And then again, just being considerate that not all men are receptive to the type of conversations that we want to have all the time. So kind of not taking it personal is what I try to do all the time. So
hey, Quest, you demonstrated something, man, that I can't stand, and I see it happens a lot, and a lot more so with ladies. Comparing your man to somebody else's. Women, don't do that bullshit, man. Like what Quest said. Why don't your friends talk like you? Don't do that. Don't do that. That's the you talking about a gut shot? Why would you want to do that? So what if a man did that to you? Why don't you cook as good as your friend Sierra? Why don't you cook as good, or why don't you throw it back and ride me like what I'm hearing from your girlfriend? Why don't you do that? No, man, don't do that bullshit. That's some bullshit.
I have a little argument with that specifically.
Hold on. Let me just before you say that, let me just say this. To their benefit.
This is the second time I want to say something.
Okay. I was gonna say they didn't do it in front of them. This was like a side conversation. So it's not like they said that in front of their dude.
Of course, it shouldn't happen at all.
Because that's programming her mind to think of him in those terms. Like she shouldn't be doing that in her own mind, regardless.
Because I promise you, she did it on the side with somebody else. She does that shit in private all the time.
I just wanted to say that, yeah, I agree with you, Hank, to a certain point, but there is also, I hear men saying, oh, she has, because you had a topic about it, like women have a good father and they still make mistakes. And it's understandable. But what I wanted to say is that if I have a father and my grandfather have never yelled at their wife, why would I have to accept someone yelling at me? So I have a standard. I have someone to compare, a positive, version of a man that I want. So I have to accept a man just because he's the way he is, or can I choose, like Quest said, we are picking this man. The moment that a man gives me certain disrespect, that's not tolerated here. Why? Because I've never had my father speaking to me in a certain way that I will not tolerate from a man, or my grandpa doing that to my grandma. I've never seen that. We don't talk to our kids like that. So why do I have to accept it from someone? That's comparing, but it's not comparing in a negative way.
But are you saying that to that man? Are you telling that man?
No.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's one thing you think it in your head. You hold your tongue, keep it to yourself. But it's another thing if you verbally communicate that shit. That you don't do that. That's poison. Like I said, what if that man did that to you every time you make a move or something you don't do or something you don't do what they consider right? Could you imagine that shit?
I agree. I remember I had a boyfriend, and his mom was really a really, really good cook. I know how to cook and I love cooking, and he liked my cooking, but there were some recipes that he really liked from his mom, but he never told me like, oh, my mom cooks this better, or no. Like he will actually try to teach me the recipe. Like I'll cook it, and then like you're gonna be observing there. So I was the sous chef, but I knew what he was doing. He didn't have to say I love my mom's cooking. I wanted to be like, I want to cook like your mom. Like I was in, with his mom cooking to learn how she does it so I could do it later. So, I guess it's just, also not taking it personal, willing to and open to learn and understanding,
Yeah,
nobody can cook like my mother.
you talking about your mother-in-law or like your boyfriend's mother. You know what I'm saying? Like that's different than being compared to his ex. You see what I'm saying? Or your or his. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't mom. That's different. Like yeah, you cook way shittier than my mom. All right, well, shit. I guess I got to step my game up. Like that ain't nothing major, but I get what Hank talking about.
Now, when you realize what he was trying to do, as far as teaching you how to make this specific dish better, when it clicked what he was doing, how did you feel? Did you appreciate it, or were you like upset about it?
No, I told you, I was even with his mom, I was like being more close to her and I was cooking with her so I could learn, what she was doing the way she does it. So I was like, okay, I see. No, that's what I'm saying. You have to be willing and open to know that person that you're with. That's about it. Like we're not perfect. That's why I say we're humans. We are all humans with flaws, and we have to understand our flaws and accept and willing to work on those.
I want to ask you guys real quickly before we transition to the next topic. When it comes to communication, so say you're with somebody, right, and either you or the other person recognizes not good communication. How can people always say we want to talk about solutions, but how if you could get some advice on how to get you guys on that page where you guys are effectively communicating, what would you suggest?
Well, the first thing I would do is we both got to recognize that our communication skills suck, and we need to do something about it. Because unless we both admit it or accept it that our communication is not good, it's not going to go anywhere. I'd say, man, I know our communication skills between me and you are bad. I don't feel that way. I think it's good. I think everything's great. We're talking, but we're not really listening to each other. We're talking at each other, but we're not listening. So we got to first thing first admit that. If I'm going to do something, I'm gonna get a third party, and we're gonna have to go to counseling. Our communication skills suck, and we need to talk to somebody about that. That will be my solution: to go to therapy, couples therapy.
Ladies, the need to be right. It's like that shit oozing through y'all bloodstream, bro. Don't always feel like you got to be right. Be agreeable, right? It like I'll be honest, that is a lot of the reasons why conversations just get off the rails. Just sit back, take a deep breath, listen intentionally, and then move forward with the conversation. But don't like I know hell, we done seen it on other panels, right? But we gonna play nice. You've been proven wrong time after time after time, and you still gonna hold on to this thread of fucking argument, and it's like,
Oh shit. Here we go again.
just you know what I'm saying? Like, just
Right
chill.
on there.
You're not gonna win a special prize because you were right or some shit like you're not. If anything, you're gonna lose shit. So just be a little bit more agreeable.
I will say something about what Quest is saying. And I think women need to stop taking the wording negatively and be smart about it. Because my grandmother told me one time, and I've said it before, it was an example. My grandpa wanted to do something, and my dad and my grandma were like, no, you should not do that. They were like, he was stubborn. My grandpa was a stubborn man, you know, and my grandma said, stop my dad. She's like, just let him do it. Just let him do it. And I'm like, I'm looking at my grandma like, just let him do it. He went and did whatever he wanted to do. And when he came back, he made a mistake. My grandpa was wrong, totally. And he screwed up whatever he was doing. So when he came back, he told my grandma, you were right. So I think, and I learned that, like if you just say you give your opinion, and then if he's still like, okay, I'm going to do it, go ahead, do it. Let him make the mistakes. But when he comes, don't tell him, don't throw, oh, I told you so. No, just satisfaction inside. You don't have to be right. He's gonna know that you knew that you were right. If he's the right man, he's gonna tell you. He's not gonna take it wrong. He made the mistakes. and that's it. That's it. Why, why trying to be right? No, you were right. It's just it's the need of trying to prove somebody that you're right. It's the need to try to prove somebody that you knew what you were talking about. And just by the way, you have a very toxic chat. I'm not gonna read it.
I
Hey,
got the
what's
chat
going on?
off.
Hold on. Hey, chat ninjas. What the fuck going on in there? Y'all got. Hey, look. Y'all my partners, but y'all. Hey, don't get carried away in there. Sean Gates. You know what I'm saying? You chat. You
Hey,
from now on. You chat
there's nothing
ninja
you can do
enforcer.
about it. Let them live. They gonna say what
You the chat ninja enforcer.
It
Keep
doesn't
it
matter what
straight.
you say, they're still gonna go with the opposite. Like, I was saying about my boyfriend, they're like, oh, because he's not being transparent with you. I'm like, oh my God, you'll never, never, never get like, so that's why I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
Man.
I don't look at the chat. Just keep it over here. I got the chat turned off, so I guess you must be looking at it on another screen or something. So you kind of told on yourself. Let's just keep the focus here. Can't control there. So we got the chat general. What is it? We got Matt G in there. Who else we got
Yeah.
in there?
Hey, chat ninja first on. Tight. Hey, get them tight.
Yeah,
Bring to attention. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Let's keep the focus on here. But like any last minute solutions as far as communicating better, or either getting you guys to a place where you can communicate.
Yeah,
Reddit.
I was gonna say something along the same lines as Sarah. As far as a woman coming from a woman's, we really have a very ingrained habit of needing to be right, but really just thinking that we're right from the get-go, I think is the bigger problem. Like if we focus on approaching things, even if we think that we may have the better perspective of a situation, we really have to make it a habit, or I guess replace the habit of trying to approach the situation trying to convince the man that, hey, I'm right, you need to listen to me. Instead, I think that it is more beneficial, kind of like she was saying, to be in a constant state of surrender. As far as, yes, we're approaching and we're offering what we believe is the more advantageous perspective, but we're not doing that with a sort of battle ready mentality that we're going to dig our heels in and try to convince him of that. And that's the only way that we want to have that conversation with that mentality. Instead, like she said, just offering it and then recognizing that whatever he chooses to do or the perspective he leaves with, that's up to him. He's entitled to do that. But again, just kind of really trying to focus on rerouting that habit, because that's what it is. It's a habit. Like we just get in such a habit of digging our heels in when we think we're right already in the conversation. So then there's really nothing you can do to move your own mentality forward if you already believe that where you stand is the right place. So
All right.
Hey, let me ask, where Carmen, where are you getting your perspective from? Because like I agree with it, but I'm asking because like I kind of, if you don't mind, are you getting this perspective from being in a relationship? Are you married? Were you raised with your father? Like where is this coming from?
So I was raised a lot with my father, but I'm not currently in a relationship. I've learned a lot of lessons the hard way. So,
Okay.
you know.
How old are you? If you don't, I always ask the ladies this. They can all confirm this.
Oh,
How old are you?
Right. I'm
shit.
30. I'm about to be 31.
Okay.
I say right, man. I say right. If you notice that you're not getting nothing accomplished by having a conversation and communicating, you always reach like a brick wall, write it. You go to your respective area, go to their respective area and write, like you're sending them an email. And then, read each other's letters and then try to go from there. But I mean, I feel like writing, you get a lot of stuff out and you're able to collect your thoughts and you're able to articulate them in a way that's, effective. And then I think that'll be a starting point.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And just to add to it, just try to have an open mind when it comes to some guys. Some guys don't know how to communicate. It's something that they probably never experienced growing up. So I think men need to learn how to do it effectively. I think you can save a lot of a lot of issues, a lot of troubles if you're able to set the tone as far as when it comes to communication. So
Yep, and I agree that we have to not overlook those flags, those things. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. We all can learn how to communicate in the future. But like how someone communicates, when you're beginning, or starting a relationship. I personally, when I'm starting, to get to know someone, I like to tell them like if I can disagree with you, I don't have to agree with you all the time. But me disagreeing with you doesn't mean that I have to disrespect your opinion, just so I expect the same back. You don't have to agree with me, but you don't have to disrespect my opinion. And if I feel like I need a space, please give me my space, because I've been in that position where the man is texting, sending me long text to the point that I'm like, I'm not even gonna read this.
hey,
I'm not, and I don't want to be disrespectful. Just stop texting me. Like right now, I need my space. And no, they're like, no, no, I want you to read it right now. And some women will act. Some men could say that women will act the same way, and I get it. It's just that you don't know how to communicate. So I like to draw that line and be like, you know what? If we're arguing or something, let's get to an agreement. Let's give each other some space. If I'm gonna say I need my space, just give me my space. So those are kind of like the things that you mentioned early in a relationship to avoid this type of situations.
yeah, I do want to add to it real quick, and this is not in response to the long text messages, right? I'm not speaking on that, but um, when you were saying that if it's a red flag when it comes to communicating, who's to say that you are communicating effectively? So I think that you have to kind of go through some times to figure out who communicates more effective, or maybe both of you need work, or maybe you've been communicating this whole way your entire life and you had it wrong. And I don't think you can measure it unless you guys are communicating and seeing what the issue is. So I wouldn't just say it's a red flag because somebody can be a great person. They just never learned how to communicate. And so when you say that you vested in somebody, and if you put up a chart, you got like five things on the right side that's green, and then you just got this can be improved. Then see it through, work through it and see if it can get better before you just say, "Oh, that's it." I can understand some certain red flags, but I think when it comes to communication as a whole, and I can't speak for other cultures or anybody else, just based off the people that I've interacted with, a lot of people just don't know how to communicate effectively.
Yeah. But you know what the problem is, that when you're just responding to respond, like you have a long text message that it requires you to kind of like notice in detail, and then you're just gonna be like whatever and be dismissive and just responding just to like because you're angry. So at that moment you have to know yourself and be like, you know what, right now I need to think what I'm doing wrong and think about the actions from that person, being pathetic. Why did he acted this way? Now what I'm doing this way. So it's more like a time to kind of like meditate or think about, okay, now let's sit down and talk about it. That's what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that part, right? And that comes with good communication. But a part of communication is also listening. So you have to have open mind to understand what it is that they're trying to convey to you. If you're just shutting down based off something that's triggering you, I can't. You just hear what they're saying and then try to process through it. And I think that there's a way that you can say, "Hey, let's talk later." It's coming too fast. I want to slow it down a little bit. Let me try to take it all in, and then let's make sure we get back to it. So a part of communication is listening.
So what you? I'm sorry, Jay. I didn't. Did I cut you off?
No, you're coming out. Go ahead.
Okay. So what you're saying is you sent a long text message and he texts you back whatever. Is that what you're saying, Sierra?
No, no. No, I said I was in a situation where like, okay, so the reason why it didn't work out with us is the communication part. I was very patient with him, but he wanted the attention
So
immediately. And
so
I was
what?
at work. Hold on, hold on. I have to give you a little bit of context because I don't want to be seen like, oh, you are not communicating. No, I was at work and I had a lot of responsibility. Like my attention, not a responsibility, but my attention had to be there. I'm a teacher. So I cannot be looking at my phone while I'm delivering a class. Come on. So like he was calling, my phone vibrating in my pocket. So I'm like, I cannot answer right now. But I noticed that there was a lot of messages there. And I'm like, I cannot read this right now. So my reply was, I cannot read this right now. I'm in class. Can you respect that I am at work? And then like, this is toxic. Am I like having a bad day at work? Have you had that? Someone giving you a bad day, and like, so I was like, I cannot answer right now. So I'm working. And then I left it there. But then by lunchtime, he's calling, like, I want to eat, I'm hungry. So I was like that. And then every time, like if we had an art, he was like very pushy, like, let's talk about it right now. And there's a time for everything. So I was like, we're gonna talk about it, but right now it's not the moment. And it's not even like 2 hours, 3 hours later. Like, I get it if I'm making you wait days or an entire day, but come on, it's just a few hours. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it to me, it was bad. It was really bad. I couldn't deal with it, and I was like, you know what, I can't deal with it.
So
Let me
on
ask
your
you-
planning period, you talking about you don't want to talk because you eating lunch. So you couldn't took the time out during your planning period and just reply back to the man and sit there and say, hey, look here, it's not the time. We can talk about it when I get home today. Something like that. I mean, that would help. And for the record, how do you know this man wasn't in some type of distress? How do you know this man wasn't going through something emotionally that he need his woman there to have a conversation with? I mean, this man could have been on the ledge.
Right now, you're
Hold on.
speculating. You're speculating right now.
Hold on.
That's what I was about to say. Can you bring some more context, Cider?
Hold on. Let me finish this. But you don't. But I'm just saying, you don't know that. You just assuming, like you said. Am I speculating? Yes, I am. I'm just giving examples and samples. But at the same time, you just sit there and just blew the man straight off. You talk about communication. A good form of communication is trying to be open. Even if you don't respond, there's nothing wrong with you reading it, and you can respond later. Like you said, you had an open time period during lunch, but you felt like lunch was more important. You to get some nourishment was more important than you to even have a conversation with your man, who may have helped provide that lunch for you.
So can I ask you a question? Do you know what time? Do you have a wife?
No, I do not. I have an ex-wife.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't matter. Have you been in a
lady,
relationship?
if
Like,
that's what you wanna know.
that's fine. And I don't mean to get into personal details. What I'm
you're
saying
fine.
is
Go
that
ahead.
we all have certain timing to eat, and I don't mean to get personal, but I do fasting. So my fasting time breaks at lunchtime. By that moment, I'm dragging myself like I'm really hungry and I'm moody. I get moody, very moody because I need to eat. But
So
that's me. Hold on. That's me, and I express it to the men that I'm with. Like, by this time, I have to eat. And like, don't get it. This is effective communication. Me warning you that if I get to this point and I don't have food, I'm gonna be struggling. So please don't. It's not your problem. It's not you. It's me. It's the lifestyle that I choose to live. Respect that. Don't
you
agree with it.
don't
You don't
text and
have
eat
to
at the
agree with
same
it.
time. You
Huh?
never text and eat at the same time.
Come on. I'm telling you, this is a man that I was with.
No.
Like, it's not
I
a
asked you a
stranger.
question.
This man
Have you
knows me.
ever? I understand. Have you ever texted and ate at the same time? Because some of y'all ladies be texting and driving. Some of y'all ladies be putting makeup on while driving, and that's
Thank you.
crazy as shit. But that's
Yeah.
what you do.
I
So you
mentioned
can't
in
text
one
and
of
eat at the same time, man.
I mentioned in one of my I don't even know where I mentioned. I think in one of my stories, I really suck at multitasking. I'm not and it's okay. I'm not perfect, That's being self-aware. I am not a person that does multitasking, and also I believe in that having the peaceful moment when I eat, because I get really sick when I eat with like drama or like mad. Like, if I am mad or upset, I will stop eating and just postpone it for later. I can't. Like, that's your body. I know my body, and I cannot eat like that. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna eat, and then I'm going to read it. How long it takes for you to eat?
So you
Five,
can't
10 minutes?
between classes. You
I
can't
have an
snack
hour
between classes.
lunch. I have
No,
an hour
listen to
lunch.
ma'am. I substitute teacher. I know what you're talking about. These kids get at least 5 to 10 minutes to go between classes. I can't go in my drawer, get out some peanut butter and crackers or some peanut butter and celery, and take a bite.
I
I
don't
can't
teach
eat a
kids.
snack between classes. That's what I'm saying. So I know what you're talking about. Come on, man.
Yeah, I don't teach kids. I'm with adults, but what I'm
Okay,
saying
well
is
they
in my
understand it's
classes,
going on
and
and
it's
you need
between
nourishment.
classes. It's not between classes. It's a training. So a training that is from 8 to 5. So
So
the
y'all don't
first
take breaks
segment,
other than lunch.
I'm giving you more context, so you keep attacking me, and I'm giving you like I'm not a bad person. I was just trying to be, you know, understanding with this person that he needed that he wanted me to read him at the moment, and he cannot have, and he had the extra time that you haven't speculated on that he's the one that extra time he has the extra time, and that's what happened. He had the extra time to be worried about what I, if I'm answering at the moment or not. Why
Hey,
not
so
expect
let me jump in here, right? Because look, I think we gotta be reasonable. You know what I'm saying? And if you teaching, I'm gonna just keep it honest with you. If you teaching and you're in a class, like, and he doesn't understand that, like, that's kind of foolish. That's very foolish behavior. I don't think there's a single man that's on this fucking panel right now that if you had your lady was a teacher and you know that she is involved and hands-on with an actual class she's giving, she's giving a class, she can't stop the class to look at motherfucking long ass text messages and read through all this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And like we first off, we too player for that shit anyways. We wouldn't even do that to nobody. Am I right, fellas? Y'all wouldn't do that to a woman that you knew was a teacher that had to be completely involved. Fair?
No,
you wouldn't do
I'll
that
let you
shit.
know, she's an educator, and I don't dare text or call her. She
Right.
calls me, but
Right.
I don't do that. But
Because it
that's
don't
just
even
me.
make
I understand your schedule.
Right, exactly. So it don't even make fucking sense for us to do that, right? So like, I can see it's just unreasonable. I can see how Saida is like, what the fuck is wrong with this motherfucker, bro? Like, he know I'm in a class. He want me to read this 9-page letter. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, and then when it does come time for her to take her little break, so I can be reasonable. Now, I will hold in task when it's time. In this particular example, I gotta side with Saida in the moment where it's like, hey, I ain't reading this shit in the middle of class. One. Two, if I do only have, like, let's say for instance, an hour for lunch, sure, I can respond and be like, yo, I'm gonna get with you when we get to the house. We'll talk about this shit later, whatever. But I'm still I respect that she don't even give it no energy then, because now she can go back into her class, her occupation with a fucked up energy, with a fucked up attitude, That ain't fucking right neither. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
but of course we know it ain't right, but that's life.
Hold on.
Situations like that. You understand what I'm saying? We all know this. I mean, hopefully it's not a common thing. Hopefully it's not one of those things that happens every day. Now, if it is, then you got a different situation, and you need to address that in a different manner.
I'm only
But I
going
wanted
off
to
of
say
that
something.
this one scenario, right? I don't know the whole layout of the other relationship, none of that shit. I'm just talking about this one scenario. And to general logic, ain't nobody negotiating with terrorists. I'm just being fucking reasonable right now. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? And I'm glad that you said this is life. These are the things that happen in a regular relationship. Why do you have to like make the other person like go through and struggle during their day and just not make their life easy? Because if a woman was doing this to a man, then we'll be like, oh, she's needy, she needs the attention, and all that. Like we will be attacking her. I totally disagree, or like a woman acting this way, like she shouldn't. Why? She should be giving you peace, right? Just as much as you want peace, I want peace too. Like I don't want to be struggling at work and having a really like difficult day. I already have a difficult day with my class, so someone else putting extra things, and that we believe in that whatever personal situations stays out of the door from the company, and vice versa. You don't bring work to the house. So if we're talking about those things, that's how it is. This is life, and that's how we're supposed to be like acting on.
But man, normally this scenario you gave is just the opposite. Normally it's the man dealing with this shit, and it's the woman doing all of that. That's the normal. Now, maybe he's a feminine man. I don't know what type of man is, but it's irrelevant. I mean, to me, if he does this every day, that's a different type of problem. But if it was just a one-off and this man needed you, you don't know what he was going through. This man might have been struggling and he needed you at the moment. But I understand you in a class with your students and you have to address that. Okay, cool. But I'm sure y'all break. Do y'all get breaks at work? 5-10 minutes, go take a water break, get up and stretch, go around. smoke break, whatever the case may be. Take that time. If you're that hungry, grab your snack real fast. Do your thing. Come back, do your thing. Come lunchtime, maybe give the man a couple minutes. Hey, I don't have long, and let him know I don't have long to talk, but I got a few minutes. What's going on? Why are you sending this long text? Is everything all right? And
So
just inquire. There's nothing wrong with that.
All right, we're gonna go to Carmen J. Then we'll finish off with Kelly.
So I think what Hink is speaking to, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that when Saira is phrasing these things and saying she's warning him and drawing these lines, she's kind of operating from the position of a man. Like us as a woman are really the reactive creature just by nature. But in relationship, that should play out more so. Kind of, I think what he's getting at is that the way that she phrased all of that is as if he's almost the one orbiting her, which, I mean, again, if he as a man is putting himself in that position, like he said, that's what I was going to say originally, is like, that's a deeper, different problem than communication. If that's his like constant habit to be pressing her constantly
Yes.
in those manners, like, but when you start talking about, oh, I needed to eat and things like that, so I couldn't tend to my man, like, that's where it's sort of, I think what he's getting at is you're breaking from the proper position. Like, you're supposed to be kind of orbiting and attending to what his needs are, whether you're in his presence or not. And so when you're pushing him to the side, even if he's doing things that are out of line, you're igniting that further because you're not giving him the attentive presence that he's looking for. So that's
Exactly.
what I want to say.
Because if that was a man just doing the opposite, and she find out that you ignored me because you was hungry, man, she gonna rip your ass a new one. I promise you, she is. You won't hear the end of it. You go 3 months down the road. Remember that time you ignored me just because you had to get your ass some goddamn McDonald's? You don't value me. You value your belly over some McDonald's.
You value your value meal.
Come on, Jay. Number
Nah.
one.
Hey, Hink is savage, bro. Hink is a motherfucking savage, dog.
Hey, well, you know what? We had a communication issue right here, and I can see it because I needed Carmen to break it down and say it the way she said it to understand his point. Now I understand that. And I'm not saying because he was not communicating effectively, because we both were not doing it. I was saying it in one thing. I was saying it one way. He was getting it one way. And this is what happens on a daily basis, not just with your partners, but with everybody. With everybody. This is a perfect example.
My voice was deeper. Is that what
Perfect
it was?
example.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Jay and finish off with Kelly so we can transition. Go ahead, Jay.
All right. So I'm gonna be honest. I always question people when somebody says I'm a good person. I always, I don't think you determine if you're a good person. I think somebody else does. Other people do. So when somebody says I'm a good girl or I'm a good person, I run now in my life. I run for my life. You know what I mean? Because there's danger there. You made the comment, he's the one with the free time. At that time, was his free time an issue for you? No. So it wasn't like he was jobless or had a lot of free time and you felt like he should have been doing something else with his free time?
No. His job allows him to have free time. But no, I had nothing against it.
Now, in terms of you and his communication on a normal basis, have you established, I know you said you were at work and you were busy. Up until that point, until, stuff started going in that direction, had you and him been communicating at a high capacity, and then it was almost like you were taking it away and saying, oh, I'm busy,
So these are the details that people need to know to understand better. Like, I am not so good with texting. Like, I don't like texting a lot. And he will send long texts because he used the voice feature. Like, he speaks to the phone and sends text messages, so that allows you to say more in a way. So
my background.
The truth is coming out now.
No.
Yeah.
So he would send a lot. He would say a lot of things, and I would respond in a shorter message. So he felt like he was saying more. I am saying less. That was a thing since the beginning. I brought this this scenario because this relationship didn't work for this reason. Yes, he, like we both had good intentions, but when you have something different with someone and there is something to work on and you work on it and you try, but the other person is not putting any effort. I'm not saying this is a relationship of years. I did not let this pass for so long. I was like, you know what? You know what to tolerate and what you don't tolerate, period. So I didn't. I was like, you know what? I have tried. I explained this, and this is how what's been happening. It's not gonna work. And then at the end of the day, months later, he came and apologized because he knew he was wrong. End of story. No more details.
All right, Jay, did you finish your point?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
All right.
no further questions, Jeremy.
Okay. All right. What's going on, Miss Kelly? I don't know if you've been hearing what's being said so far. You want to add some sauce on?
Y'all really think y'all could have Lapeef-ING Sundays without me?
That's what we thought, but boom, guess who stepped in the room?
It's me, Kelly. Hello. Nice to see everybody. Happy Sunday. Okay, so I wasn't listening, but I do have something to say about the actual question. Hi, Hank. Thank you for checking on me about the storm. I appreciate it. You're
Right
awesome.
on.
So to answer the actual question, I don't know the side stories that were happening. Men actually do listen. I agree with that. You just have to communicate without yelling and lose the attitude. Also agree with that. So I think there is a proper way to communicate. So communication to me means when I say something, the words that come out of my mouth have to go to your brain and you have to have an understanding of what I was trying to tell you. So I don't think there's a right or wrong way to communicate. I think you have to learn your partner and find out how to effectively communicate with that particular person because everyone doesn't communicate the same. So in that, yelling, I don't think yelling solves problems. I think also you have to respect a person to truly hear what they're saying. A lot of people will shut down when you start yelling because you're disrespecting them. They don't even want to hear what's coming out of your mouth. So in turn, you're not properly or effectively communicating. So to me, I feel like you need to find out how they communicate, your partner, and that takes time with learning them. And also, what we used to do growing up in my home is my father would make us repeat back to him what we thought he said. He said, "Okay, so now tell me what you think I said." And you always take in information, and sometimes you process it, and it comes out the way you thought you heard it, and that's not proper communication. You need to make sure your point gets across thoroughly to them and effectively. So that's how you communicate. However, it is between the couple, I think that is subjective, but it needs to happen. It needs to be discussed. How do you effectively communicate? And that I think as a man, he will listen to you if you entreat him, if you respect him, if you come to him. I always tell women you should talk to your husband as if he were a king. So if you approach him in that manner, if you think about a king on the throne, you're not just going to go to him and be like, "I told you to pick up your drawers. They were on the floor. You left them there." You're not going to do that. You're going to be like, "Your Highness, this is what I need from you. You're going to be respectful. You're going to honor him." And if you approach a man like that, there's nothing he won't hear, and he'll try to solve the problem, whatever it is. That's all I have to say about that. As far as the side stories, I don't know.
All right. Appreciate that. That being said, I know that topic went a little long, but it was very valuable. I think great perspectives were said. We did have a few super chats that came through. The will again with the $5. Sometimes for men, it's not a lack of communication skill. Sometimes women want to unload unnecessary info on their man, and it can be exhausting. Appreciate that, Doug. Will. Cola Nick's a voice and a reason, 999. Hink, appreciate that honesty. Shout out to you. It's my first time seeing you. But
Hey,
thanks for
appreciate your service too.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, so to your
Thank you
service.
for your service.
How can you tell?
It was on the side. I missed it too. It was a split picture, but it was split.
Oh, thank you for your service to our country.
Gary S with the $10, also a member. That's why I like Big Hink. Straight, no chaser! Exclamation points.
Hey, it's the
But
resident
you know what?
savage right here. Oh boy, the
Like,
resident savage.
Yeah, I want to say that I appreciate Hink, man. I think Hink has evolved, and I think he's found his lane, his niche, man. He has a certain presence. He's the original creator of the Thursday Energy saying. So salute to Hink.
Yeah,
This
he
man.
went from talking about sports to lying to these hoes.
Shout out, hold on. Colin Nix, a voice of reason, one that just became a member. So shout out to you. And again, thank you for your service. Appreciate that. Green Gang, welcome. You might have to have that chat. You know, y'all go to service, and when it's all over, you got to talk to the pastor and stuff like that. And they welcome you. You have to talk to Quest. Quest to go ahead and get the new member information started. You know, we'll be sure to let you know all the activities that's going on, and we'll be having a field trip, so to speak, to Six Flags. Okay. Was that corny, Kelly? Okay. Well,
Nah, that was
I
funny.
wasn't
That
gonna
was
say
funny.
anything.
That was funny, man.
No, because y'all always do that. Y'all do the whole blasphemous, trying to correlate it with church. Some people actually respect church, so.
All right, bro. God damn, man. We joking.
hold on, Kelly. Have you ever gone to a comedy show?
I have gone to a comedy show.
Exactly. Right. Because that's all they do. Is they
Is there
joke
like a
every single thing. And if people go to comedy shows, say, why can't we joke?
Yeah, but there are certain things that are considered blasphemous and sacrilegious, and you're not supposed to disrespect things.
But you don't know what you're gonna get, and they talk about a lot of different stuff. They talk about the black church. You know, they joke about it.
I've never been to one of those shows.
Oh,
You never seen Steve Harvey?
Yeah, I've seen Steve Harvey.
Okay, he talks about the black church and not putting a doorknob on the church.
No, I'm talking about when y'all be like, "Oh, I hear a word from the Lord." That's disrespectful.
I don't think it's disrespectful because where that even started. You know, I don't know how that tone would be labeled as disrespect. I mean, it just sounds crazy because when you go to a Catholic church, you don't hear them talking like that. So
It's not my show. You do you?
okay, I'm just saying. Jay is on the show, and he's one of those. He doing the what Angry Man did. He's donating while he's on the show. So shout out to Jay with the $40.
Oh, that's right.
Appreciate you, brother, man. And here we are, thinking you sitting over there watching porn. Bless us with it.
Demon time, Jay. Demon time.
Yeah, no. Let's go ahead and get to this other topic. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor again, Teej Hanley. Get 30% off along with a free gift. That link is in the description. Feel the Teej, as I often always say. With that being said, move on to our next topic. Again, hit the like button.
Obviously, being from Nigeria and having opportunities to go back there, I've heard you talk about the difference between being wealthy and being rich. And also, you said, you know, when you just get there, you breathe the air, and the air feels in a way cleaner, fresher, more for you. What was that experience like for you, and why did you say you recommend that all of us get an opportunity to go back?
Well, I feel like there's so much strength in Africa that the misconception is not what it is. And I feel like when you do have wealth in Africa, whatever country it is, you live a certain way that's just beautiful. And one, you appreciate life. It's all of us, so you're not being looked at as a black man. You know, that eliminates a lot of issues. You know what I mean? So, and just being able to feel love, you know, and not in a situation where everything is so judgmental. America is very judgmental. Everything is, you know, facade. Back home is not that. It's more of just do your job, get your money, take care of your family, provide, do it all over again. Enjoy your life, but you're not worried about the next man. Here it's too many loopholes you gotta jump through, and you don't really enjoy as much as you should. You know, that's why when I said that, I said you breathe in problems in America because half the time you anxious, you have anxiety, you nervous, you scared, you this, you that. So back home, I felt like when I got there, it was like, oh wow, I feel good, man. Let me just go do my job and enjoy this, and let me go to the beach, and it's just beautiful. So I think it's a huge difference.
All right.
I agree with that.
With that being said, this is America. You breathe in so many problems unlike other countries, he said. He said you don't have those worries when you are amongst people that are like you. and how toxic living and thriving in America can be. Let's talk about it. Go ahead, Miss Kelly. I know you said that you agree. You have to expand on that a little bit for me.
Sure, I'll be glad to. Am I echoing?
Nah, I thought I was
No.
echoing.
Okay. So I have a lot of friends that are from other countries, and I travel a lot. And I will agree with him. I have a friend who's from Bosnia, and then she was displaced when the war happened, so she went to Germany, and then she came to America. And she said, like, I remember we worked together, and she was always so calm about work. She was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go home." I was like, "You're not worried? We gotta stay late. You're gonna get fired." And she was just like, "I don't think about stuff like that." She said, "In America, you guys live to work, and everyone in every other country, no, I'm sorry, you work to live. And in every other country, sorry, I'm saying it wrong. My brain. You live to work. In other countries, they work to live. So they do their job to provide for their life, and that's what's more important, their actual life. Here, it's like everything surrounds our job. Like, oh, can we get PTO? Can I do this? It's like every everything we think about is about money and 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 increasing your income, and you don't think about the values and the treasures of life, or just going out and like smelling the flowers or taking the roses, and you just, okay, I gotta get to work, okay, I gotta stay late, I gotta do overtime, money, money, money. It's in every other country, it's more relaxed. I'm sure Sayed can attest to this. It's more of a relaxed environment in other countries.
Yep, definitely. Everything you say, I agree with it. Like and one of the things that I always say is that you look at each other in a certain way, but you don't see America as people see you from the outside. You think that people see you the way that you see each other. Like me, for example, right now, all I see right now, it's American people. You're not a certain culture. You are all American to me. And I don't mean to be disrespectful. It's just that that's how we see you. It doesn't matter. Like if you come from the US, you are American. And I get it. You guys are, the country has a diversity. I'm sorry. So it's like different people from different places. So you want to distinguish yourself from them, but from the outside, you are all one thing for us. And
So in El
yes,
Salvador, do you have different complexions? Like you have lighter El Salvadorians, darker El Salvadorians?
you will be surprised if I tell you that they think that I am black. Yeah. So to
Gotcha.
them, I
Okay.
am considered dark skin. Yeah. But it happens like there. I went to a club where they didn't want to let me in because of my complexion. Everybody's blonde, skinny, tall, white, Salvadorian white, of course. But they didn't want to let me in, so we deal with this situation. But it's not. I don't want to say it's the same as you. No, please, no, it's not the same. But we deal with certain things like that as well. But I agree. Like I'm gonna be judged for having a Samsung and not having an iPhone. We do have iPhone 14 here too. People that have those things, But for us, it's different. It's simple. It's simple. We don't believe that having money it's everything. The way I see it is like you buy things and then it get disposed or you don't use them or like I don't know. I have a way to say like you use people and love things. Here we love people and use things.
Say that again. Say that again. You
Mm,
use people and love things.
yeah, you love to possess, to have things. You love your car, you love your house, and you should be loving your family. And I'm not saying you don't love your family, but what it
Okay.
seems from the outside, and I'm saying it from the outside, being outside of the U.S. That's how it seems like. Like, you use people
And love
and
things.
love things, but here it's like, hey, I rather have nothing, but I am with my family right now.
Love people and use things.
And
Okay.
let me go ahead and say this, man, because I'm probably and this ain't me tooting my horn. This is just stating the facts. I'm probably the most traveled person
I
on
was
the
gonna
planet.
ask you. I was gonna ask you. Yeah,
I've,
I thought so.
I've been to 40, 50 countries, right? And these problems exist everywhere. The shit he's talking about is cap, bro. It's cap. Hold on 1 second, because my son trying to turn up. Hey, hold it down, please, sir.
Tell that little terrorist to chill out.
Hey, you ain't to call my son no terrorist, especially on the panel. But come here, bud. So what I'm saying is, what I'm suggesting is that every country has these problems. What Timmy is saying is absolute cap. I guarantee Nigeria has some, if not some of the exact same, even worse problems in his country than he do in America. That's cap. Now he's going back to Nigeria with a bankroll, so he may be absolved from a lot of these things, right? But the common folks are dealing with same issues that they deal with right here in America. Stop the cap, dog. Cut it out. And that's not just Nigeria. Just like what Saida's saying, I've been to every country in Central America except for Costa Rica, and I've been to I don't even know how many countries in South America, right? Caribbean, like racism and colorism and all that shit. That shit's even worse down there than it is here in the States, bro. I'm telling you, bro, that's cap. It's cap.
But Quest, would you say that we place a higher value on materialistic things?
But that's not the question, though. That's not the conversation. So we're just talking the problems in general.
Yes, I believe in other countries there's caste systems. They judge you based on your complexion, just like Saida said, that they wouldn't let her into a club because she was darker complected. I definitely think those things happen. Absolutely. Especially in Asian countries. They have like what they call the dirty Asians, my friends told me, or the jungle Asians. Happens a lot.
But say how they talking about a land country. The guy was talking about an African country. Different, big difference.
Explain, Logic.
Explain. He want to go over there and he want to do what he say, right? And then you get over there and you start understanding, oh man, ain't no protection like it is in the United States. Oh, y'all hot girl summer women want all this kind of freedoms. You can't walk the streets at night in Africa. You know what I'm saying? It's y'all, they be listening to these little pro-black dudes on these channels, and you go there and you experience it, and you'll see, God damn, I want to go back to New York. You think New York, California bad? Take your ass to these African countries and you will see it's bad. The things that you hold dear right now that you take for granted, you won't be able to do that there. You and your girls can't jump in a car and go to the club late at night. Because guess what? This not a police state. You know, let's be honest. Most of them countries, warlords run them countries, not even the governments. So everything he said is full of crap. But Quest brought up a good point. He then came to America, got his bread up. So now he got privilege. I guarantee you, when he go to them countries, he have an army following him because he's know it's not safe. These people don't even got clean running water for most of this. And it is some in Africa that do. Yes. But what they do is that if you look in African countries, you look in Philippines, they really have an area of protection. Like it's crazy. They got an area of protection. It's surrounded, and then they don't care about nobody outside of that. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to go to Western Africa, don't bring up Western Africa.
Right.
Because we already talked about that a little bit, where they can't do nothing. They still under the French control. Ivory Coast, all y'all little pretty countries y'all love, y'all ain't, these people ain't dealing with the facts. This go back to Africa stuff. That's why you don't see people who have true wealth singing this go back to Africa song.
So here's what I will say. There are a lot of opportunities for business in these countries because, I mean, there's such a lack of things, right? Like, for example, if I had a business idea, would I want to go to New York City to create this business idea? No, because the market is flooded, right? I'd rather go to somewhere where it's not as flooded. I have the ability to slide in there, get my business off the ground with less hassle, less competition, so on and so forth, right? So there's opportunity. So I'll go against you. I'll push back on you real quick, Logic, that there are some big money niggas that's saying that shit now. Hey, if you got this idea, that idea, whatever, take that shit to Africa and watch that shit go fucking haywire, blow way the fuck up, because it's opportunity. It's literally lying at your feet. Right. Eventually, I'm gonna be honest with you. Eventually, I'm gonna take some business over there to Africa. I ain't there yet, but before I die, I will. Right, because I know there's opportunity. So that's my pushback there. But you know, I think like that.
Yeah, but you can think like that too, though. But if you go to the Ivory Coast, look at the. I think I was talking.
I would be selective. I would be selective on where I teach.
Yeah. No, we was talking about we was talking about the French colonies in Africa.
Right.
And we was actually displaying how you can't do nothing. You're still under French rule. That they can't even own nothing. They can't even do. And yeah, y'all listen to niggas like Akon if y'all want to. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. Why nobody follow Akon blueprint? You got being millionaires in America. That if it was that easy, then people would do it. But you just, it's not, we think like we're in America. You just can't go over there and say, I want to buy up all the land. America is the only country that does that. You can't do that in these foreign countries like that. You have to get permission. And after you get permission, it's subjected to, you know what I'm saying, the rule of these different councils. And these councils still exist. Africa is still not, these countries in Africa is still under the rule of the thumb of these other, these bigger countries. Like I said, you go to West Africa, they still under the rule of the French. You go to East Africa, they still under the rule of, forgot what East Africa, but China influence, North Africa, Arabs, South Africa still have a European influence, all of them. So y'all go there if y'all want to.
But Logic, he did say it was nice that that he wasn't just pointed out as like a black man. Wouldn't you say that is a difference?
I couldn't hear you. I was listening to Baby Daddy's. My bad.
What?
No, I couldn't hear you. It was background noise.
It's on the background noise.
Oh, I said he did mention the fact that when you go over to Africa, you're not pointed at like, oh, look, there's a black man. Like he can just be. Wouldn't you say that would be a difference?
No.
In a country?
No. I'm telling you. Look, Africa, them people in Africa, right?
I'm asking you because I have never been to Africa, so I don't know.
They're the biggest.
What I see or what I hear about what I read, I've never actually visited, so that's why I'm asking.
It's worse, man. I'm gonna tell you why it's worse. Because if you want to deal with colorism and all that kind of stuff like that, in Africa, it's horrible. It's horrible. And then now the leaders of most of these groups, the people who really run these countries, they're white, or they're European, or they're French. That's the true influence. If you go to the French colonies, guess what their primary religion is?
Can I ask a question?
Oh, you go ahead.
Is there something that you appreciate from another culture, country, that is nothing related with money? Because Quest said, oh, I will want to go to this country and bring my money there. Like everything is money, money, money. You see? Is there something that you value? Like me, for example, I'm not going to say nothing respectfully about my culture, my country. No, I value or I appreciate in Japan. My friend told me he lived there like for 3 years, and he was in the Navy actually. He said that kids can walk. They go to school and they can walk alone. Like little girls, they take the train or the subway, whatever, and they go by themselves. I was like, this is one of the safest country in the world. And I'm like, wow, I will definitely want to see that. I wish I was, I had that. Not money, not going over there with the money I have or I don't have. Like I value those things. How disciplined they are. Like other cultures, there's something that you value that you wish your culture had that is not money.
What country were you talking about just now, Saida?
Japan.
Japan.
Yeah,
okay.
But
that's beauty.
Wait, hold on. I just want to make.
Oh no, y'all, one at a time.
I just want to make sure I got the right country. You're talking about Japan that sells little girls' underwear in vending machines. That's the Japan you're talking about. Okay, I just want to make sure.
They sell a lot of things in vending machines.
She got a point. You got a point. Because when I lived in Korea for 3.5 years, right? Safest place I ever been in my life. It was no guns. You heard me say this story. No guns. When you hear sirens, police didn't chase people. They got technology. They mail you a ticket if you're doing something wrong. If you hear a siren or something like that, it's an ambulance, and that ambulance is going to pick up somebody that got in a car accident. When we was going to the range, every now and then we'll have our weapon on us. A little Korean guy, a little Korean kid would see that. Never seen that before in their culture. Will actually be scared, start crying. Little kid pissed on himself when he saw an actual weapon. So I agree with you. It is good things in, you know what I'm saying, in these other countries like that, especially Korea. But that's not talking. We were talking about African countries. He was making examples of African countries. If I move anywhere, I mean, if Korea had a better army, if South Korea had a better army and they had better protection against North Korea, I would move back to there because that was the most peaceful time I ever had in my life. But I can talk about Korea all day. I can talk about Southeast Asia all day. But we're talking that guy. I mean, he was talking about Africa, correct?
Well,
Yeah, but the reason why I'm
hold on. When he was talking, he used Africa as an example, but then he also, there was some brief where he said Africa and other countries. So he basically was making a point, but he was speaking from what he could speak on because that's where he went to. So, like I do have a friend, like one of my closest friends I went to college with. Like he's full Nigerian. I'm half Nigerian, but he's full Nigerian. And his father, well, his uncle is some big shot over there. So when he goes over there, it's different. You know, he like, man, you come over here with me, you good. You good because of his, I don't know what type of power he has, but he's a big shot over there. But one of my other coworkers, he's Nigerian. He's like, man, it's gonna be a different experience when I go over there with him because he's not plugged like that. He's just going over there just to visit because he got family over there and that's where he was born. So it is some truth to you having money, status, power. When you go over there, the experience is gonna be much different.
That's everywhere, dog.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
on
yeah.
top of
That's
that,
everywhere.
pull the video. You don't gotta play the video, but I want you to pull him up, and I just want you to everybody on the panel to see what his complexion is as well. Not Kelly.
That was an accident. I was trying to pull up the no, cause she in the one slot, so trying to pull the video up.
Yeah, pull the video up so you can see. Nigga, ain't
I was
nobody
trying
trying
to
to
be
see
on
JR.
I did.
Video.
Yeah, what's going on,
Yeah.
JR?
No, the other video I took out, like this was the next video.
Okay, so anyway, my point is that this dude is very like fair complexion, right? Light skinned brother, honestly, but especially when we talk about in Nigeria, right? So he's got multiple types of privileges when he's walking into this country. I mean, walking back into his country. Yeah, hit play so you can see what this brother looked like. This nigga's light skinned, bro.
What was that experience?
So that's
like
just another
for you?
privilege
And
on what
why
we're
did
talking
you say you
when
recommend that
roll back
all
into
of
these
us
countries and shit
get
like
an
that.
opportunity
The
to
nigga
go
got
back?
money
Well, I feel
and he got the
there's so much
complexion for
strength
the
in
protection.
Africa that is the misconception is not what it is, and I feel like when you do have wealth in Africa, whatever country it is, you live a certain way that's just beautiful. And
wait. He said it. He said if you have wealth, like go back, listen what he said. He's telling the truth. He's not talking about a regular person. He said when you have wealth.
Okay.
I'm just go ahead and play it right quick again, Quest.
In a way, cleaner, fresher, more for you. What was that experience like for you? And why did you say you recommend that all of us get an opportunity to go back?
Well, I feel like there's so much strength in Africa that is the misconception is not what it is. And I feel like when you do have wealth in Africa, whatever country it is, you live a certain way that's just beautiful. And one, you appreciate life. It's all of us, so you're not being looked at as a black man. You know, that eliminates a lot of issues. You know what I mean? So, and just being able to feel love, you know, and not in a situation where everything is so judgmental. America is very judgmental. Everything is, you know, facade. Back home is not that. It's more of just do your job, get your money, take care of your family, provide, do it all over again. Enjoy your life, but you're not worried about the next man. Here, it's too many loopholes you got to jump through, and you don't really enjoy as much as you should. You know, that's why when I said that, I said you breathe in problems in America because half the time you anxious, you have anxiety, you nervous, you scared, you this, you that. So back home, I felt like when I got there, it was like, oh wow, I feel good, man. Let me just go do my job and enjoy this, and let me go to the beach, and it's just beautiful. So I think it's a huge difference.
Bingo. He said when you have wealth. The other people that's in them African countries, they don't have time to go to the beach because they don't got wealth. They don't got time to do what he do, breathe in the fresh air, all that kind of stuff like that. So literally, I mean, he's stepping on his own argument because it's people like that in America. If you have wealth in America, guess what you don't have to worry about? You'll be safe because you'll stay in safer areas. You don't got to worry about, you know what I'm saying, you're paying bills, you know what I'm saying, you know, all that taken care of. So I don't understand his point. Same thing here in America.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the last and final topic. If you guys just tuning in, make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor again, Teach, Hanley Filler Teach, uncomplicated skincare for men. 30% off along with a free gift. That is in the description. All right, here we go. All right. The pressure of success is way harder than the pressure of having nothing. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Let me go ahead and go to Jay, because I know he's been pretty quiet. What are your thoughts about what you've seen, and you expand on the topic?
I mean, I can believe it, man. I mean, think about how many people we know that get the luxury of sitting on the sideline and never trying anything, but being critical of people who are failing. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has, you know, maybe a friend or somebody you grew up with that they never try shit. You know, me, I've had endless failures. You know what I mean? Starting with getting my license. I failed that shit twice before I actually got it. You know, trying to be a rapper, failed at that. You know, just a bunch of things where somebody's just on the sidelines and just, yeah, once upon a time. But
that's the story you have to tell.
That's a luxury, yo. You know, that is truly a luxury to be like, oh, look at this man, he sucked at this. Yo, but he tried it, you know. So being in the position of trying to achieve something or trying to gain some success, and then when you actually attain it, that same person that was on the sideline, you know, criticizing you for trying to attain it, and then you finally attain it, that whole relationship changes, you know. So he's speaking about something internal, you know, where you feel like, damn, like, I gotta put something in between me and my people, you know, because they didn't take this road, so they don't feel how I feel about what I've attained. Also, they're not in the same position as me. They don't understand this from my perspective, you know. So I can definitely understand how that can be a lot of pressure, especially on a large scale. Like, these are football play, you know, athletes or performers or entertainers. These are people that are making life-changing, generational changing money. You know what I mean? So you can only imagine all of the people falling out the sky. Yo, bro, remember when we used to play catch in 3rd grade? Yo, bro, remember when we was, like, you know, getting at them chicks? You know, everybody all of a sudden loves you, but nobody was there when you was chasing that. Nobody was supportive, you know.
Jay, you know you got to rap, right?
Nah, that's my past, man. Nah,
All right, I'm gonna go to Carmen, then Hank.
Yeah, when I first saw the title, I mean, the first thing I thought was that I'm sure the expectations are a lot heavier just in general as you're, you know, moving through everything that you're doing. And also, I think that it's probably harder to discern, I mean, depending on the kind of person you are, but harder to discern other people's intentions. Like, you're just, to a much higher degree, going to be dealing with a lot more people with ulterior motives, more likely. So I think, just in my view, that would be a lot harder. I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say about that personally, but just as an observer, I think those would be the heavier challenges that would come with success versus if you don't have success. I mean, could people still have ulterior motives? Of course. But there's also potentially a lot less at risk. So if you have a lot of success, there's a lot more that you're risking if you don't see through people that have ulterior motives and things like that, as far as dealing with you or what have you. So,
Brother Hank.
I know, you know, song came out back in the day, more money, more problems. And that's
exactly
true.
what I was thinking. I wrote it down.
We know how some family members are when you have one person who's doing well, who's living comfortable in your family. Everybody's looking for him for a bailout. Everybody's looking to them to help them or hook them up or pull them up. We know that happens, so the pressures of being successful, I'm sure it's tough. They got a different type of stress that we have. Somebody ain't got shit, we stressed about maybe not eating. You understand? And that's a hard thing to deal with. But imagine if I own a company and I'm stressing about my employees could possibly be laid off and costing a lot of people jobs. That's a different type of stress. Or the type of money I lost in the housing market when it crashed. That's a different type of stress. So I'm sure it's a lot harder. When I failed at my marriage, and didn't live up to the expectations that I had for myself, what I'm saying? It was tough, because I didn't want to end up like what my parents was, getting divorced. I didn't want to end up like it, but unfortunately I failed at my marriage and that's where I ended up. So is it hard? Yeah, it's tough. The expectation, pride, and it all ties all into the same. So it's hard. Now with him, I know he was a first round draft pick, and I'm sure he had high standards and high hopes for himself. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to maybe live up to some of those things. But yet he's looking around, seeing guys who came in the same class being more successful. I'm sure it wore on his pride and it hurt him a little bit. And like he said, he had to do some self-evaluation, look at the man in the mirror, say, hey, what am I doing or what am I not doing to be what I consider successful? So,
Mr. Kelly?
Hank stole my line. More money, more problems. I wrote it down. See? So I agree with this statement. I'll tell you a story. Now I just have stories. So I was driving down the road one day, and I always, when I see people on the side of the road that are panhandling, I always give them money, offer them food. It's just something I've always done. So I asked, what's your story? Tell me what happened. And he used to be there was one gentleman one day, he used to be this big CEO executive. And one day, I guess he had a breakdown and lost it all, lost his family, his wife left him, and he just was homeless now. So he seemed just more carefree than all the pressures that he had in life when he was the top dog. He's and I understand that there are other problems and there are other pressures, but it's almost like I don't have to worry about bills. I don't have to worry about taking care of family. I don't have to worry about paying for mortgage. I'm just kind of out here, just whatever comes. I know that is a problem in itself, but to some people that could be less problematic. So I could see being a successful businessman, all the pressures of the world are on you, your family, the role you have to play at work. But then it's just no, seriously, I see people like the guys who backpack around Europe, they just put a backpack on, they don't have a place to live, they just back and forth, they seem like
switch places.
I would do it. You know why? Because we subscribe to this life that everyone says we're supposed to live. What's the problem with going around and kind of being a nomad and seeing the world? I would do that. I would.
You need money to see the world, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. And I understand what you're saying. I do, but there are less expensive ways to travel.
What? Get on a banana boat and risk dying? I mean, what? Hijack a plane? I want to know this because shit, maybe I can save some money.
No, I have friends that backpack around Europe for summer. They just kind of had their bags. They didn't have a lot of clothes. They just stayed in hostels. They just went to visit different countries.
But do you know how much a plane ticket to go to Europe, Kelly?
Yes, I know how much a plane ticket costs to go to Europe.
Okay, so you got to get to Europe before you can backpack through Europe?
I understand that, right?
Oh.
But it's not as expensive as it doesn't have to be as expensive if you're making it sound. You could take the lesser route. There's a guy who actually has a YouTube channel who tries to see how well he can do with no money in a country. If people will help him, people will let him stay. If people will help him wash his clothes, he does this just for fun. Does he have money? Yes, but he does it to see how kind people are. And there are actually people that are outside of this country that are nice, that will help out, that will cook you a meal. He'll just go to a country and see how he can survive.
So let me jump in real quick, right? Because you brought up this example of panhandlers and homeless dudes, you know, with their handout and shit like that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I had a homegirl who she was like a mental health like counselor for the homeless veterans. There are resources for them. You could put them in homes and things like that. They don't want to be in these fucking homes because they don't want to subscribe to any type of structure and things like that. You fucking right that things are way easier for those guys because they got niggas like you giving them money and they can come up with any fucking bullshit story. Oh, I was married and, you know, I got divorced and now I'm homeless. And like, listen, is that to suggest that some people that are out on the streets with their handout don't necessarily need it? Right? That we can't. We're speaking in generalities. All right. There are going to be some that have come down on hard times. Da 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 da. But there's a lot of them that are not, right? And they want to be in this in the situation that they're in because there is no structure and they can do whatever the fuck they want to do.
So wouldn't you say their pressures are less?
I don't think that their pressures are less if niggas stop handing them money because they got habits, they still got to eat and all these different things. If people stop giving these panhandlers money, I guarantee they will have some stresses. But when you got somebody who, you know, no offense, gullible, walk up, oh, what is your story? Da, 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 oh, you know, I'm so, oh, damn. Oh,
I don't see it as gullible. Even the Bible says the poor will always be among us. There's women that are on the streets that can't afford to buy tampons and pads and are bleeding on themselves all day. There are real homeless people. If I give to someone that is homeless or someone who's not homeless and someone who's playing a game, I can't decipher that. I'm just going to give because we are supposed to take care of the homeless people. That is biblical. So I know you don't believe in the Bible and church is not your thing. And that's cool,
everybody don't believe in the Bible.
And that's fine, but I do. So if I see it, I have it. I have no problem giving. Are there pressures less? Yeah, I have to go and I have to clock in every day. I have to make my money and I'm just giving it to them. But I also, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I was going to ask you a question. Go ahead.
I don't see that as a negative. If someone needs help and I can help, I'll be glad to. I wouldn't even think twice. Yes, there are niggers like me in the world.
I'll answer the question. I think this is true, but I have to put a logical spin on it. The pressures of maintaining success is way harder than the pressure of having nothing. Maintaining is the key word because that's where pressure come in. If you reach a level of success and you got to maintain it, that's why. And then everybody you see, they want to. You have a one-hit wonder. He was successful. The pressures for him to maintain that success was way harder than it was for him to actually be successful. Because now, since you're successful, people will look at you and say, hey, you know what? I'm looking for the next thing from you. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of successful people that's out here, a lot of successful periods that they have, but maintaining
that's a really good point. That's a really
is
good point.
Where pressure comes. If you look at why these millionaires actually start killing themselves when they prove that they can't maintain that level of success, you'll start seeing a lot of times they made a bad investment. Now they want to jump off a bridge. They was not able to maintain that success. So now it's like a false equivalence when you compare it to have nothing. Having nothing, you're right. You don't have no worries. Oh, skirt, or do you? Do you want to run around here wondering where you're going to get your next meal from? Hoping it don't rain? Living in a tent next to a stinking motherfucker? See, no. And the Bible talks about taking care of the homeless. But if you look in the Bible, the biblical terms, what they consider homeless is not what we consider homeless now. Today we have lazy niggas. In this day and age where, hey, I will give a nigga some money I would buy a nigga a hotel room and I would take his ass to a job and get a job application. Because it's no way in America in this day and age that somebody's just truly homeless. We was talking about in a time where it was classes and the doors was locked and shut down. You couldn't go back in Jesus' days and say, hey, Jesus, can I fill out a job application? No, it didn't exist. It was a true class system where the homeless was pretty much a class. That's not that's not today. Today, these individuals can get jobs. They can get opportunities. I can go outside my house right now and I see zero experience. We just need somebody to do something. These dudes can do it. They choose not to because I think it's what Quest said. They depend on the Christians, the good-hearted people for their survival. And it's bullshit because now you're creating a standard that you have another one gonna see it and say, well, shit, you know what? I don't like clocking in. I don't like answering to nobody. So let me go out here and beg to Miss Kelly and Miss Carmen and Hink or whatever. But you know what Miss Elijah gonna do? I'm gonna put $100 worth of quarters in his hand. I'm gonna slap that bitch out. Go get it, nigga. And if you see how I move, I don't never get them niggas no money. You know what I give them? I give them a shot of some 1942 and say, clear your head, my nigga, and get your shit together. That's what I said. Too many opportunities.
I don't believe you.
You don't believe me? You better ask how I move.
You give them a shot.
We was at we was giving bombs shots of goddamn 1942.
That's facts. That's facts.
Clear your head, young man. When man that time was in fucking we passing our shots. I passed our shots. That's the only thing I can do for you. Because if I'm drinking and you know what? I'm that type. I'm not gonna give you no money. You know what? But you can sit down and get something to eat and get you a drink. Clear your head.
So you'll get them some food. You'll get them food.
Nah, they coming with me. So whatever I'm doing, I treat it like I treat hoes. You coming to my world. So if I'm out there eating and you're a chick and you pull up, I like it. I like talking to you. Shit, get you a drink, baby. Shit, what you want? Some sliders? Shit, them ain't never $30. Get you two. Get you one to go. I do bums the same way. Bums and bitches the same way.
Yeah, like I
Oh
can't.
my God.
Like I can't say that Logic did like have a video where I seen him what he was doing with the guy, the homeless guy. You know, he was kind of tagging along what he was doing. So, yeah. Hing, did you speak on this already?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, everybody spoke. Jay,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry people took offense to bums and bitches.
I thought it was hilarious, actually. I love how you always come up with these slogans, these sayings, just right off the top of the dome, huh?
Nah, but I
Make
agree.
it a t-shirt. Make it a t-shirt.
Bums and bitches, we got it.
Merch.
Nah, I agree. I agree what he was saying in terms of, you know, maintaining it. You know, a Jay-Z quote. Jay-Z was like, you know, it's tough being Bobby Brown. To be Bobby then, you got to be Bobby now. The question is to have had and lost, is it better than not having it all?
That's Shakespeare.
yeah,
By way of Jay-Z. Bobby Brown wasn't out. You know what I mean? When Shakespeare was shaking.
Is it better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all? Shakespeare.
You know, that's actually impressive, Kelly. That's actually impressive.
Thanks.
This hood nigga over here named Jay-Z and don't know he quoted Shakespeare.
No, but you know what? You definitely just kind of rap for us. So thank you, Jay. I didn't really slide it in.
That's not me.
Yeah, you gotta make some points. I think one of the things that I always speak on is I can appreciate both sides of it. Like I like the fact that because it brings balance to the world, right? If we have people just giving to everybody that's asking, then you know how are you going to challenge the people that need to be challenged? If everybody was the same, then guess what? You have a whole lot of people out there begging. you know, if you don't have some folks that's giving, that might be an opportunity for somebody. So I could appreciate you saying, hey, I'm not gonna do this for you, but you want to come hang out, fuck it. You know, maybe something might inspire you to go do something just because I did a kind act by having you tag along in my world. So I appreciate the balance. I think it's.
Listen,
I'm gonna say this.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this. Stop giving money to these panhandlers. Some of y'all, let me tell you, all right? Y'all have no clue how much money these niggas make. These niggas make more than a lot of you niggas sitting on this fucking panel. No cap. I talked with a sheriff one time, and they were like, one of these panhandlers right here. This was when I was living in Fort Walton Beach. They're like, one of these panhandlers will make like $45, $50 an hour. And yes, and y'all sitting here giving it all up, man. Please leave them niggas alone. And the other thing is, this is false misconception. There are systems in place for these panhandlers. If they really want jobs and they really want to, you know what I mean, make something out of themselves, there is shit in place for them. Stop doing it. Now, I know it's going to be some foolish, goofy, please check my resume before you start going off saying some old foolish shit like, Quest don't give back, da-da-da-da-da. Go check my resume. Please go check my resume. I got a fucking Airbnb right now that people are living in right now because their house is flooded from the fucking hurricane, right? So don't come for me like that. I'm talking about legit shit here. Stop giving these niggas money, Kelly.
Quest. I'm gonna take the challenge. I'm gonna go panhandle for a day. I'll let you know next week how much I made.
You gonna get money? That's not panhandling though. If you do it in your outfits, that'll be called pussy pandering. You know what I'm saying? Because look, hey, no, you won't look. I'm keeping it.
No. I'm gonna mess my hair. No. I'm gonna mess my hair.
Listen. Let me, Kelly. Let me finish.
That's a Thursday energy.
Look, it's not no Thursday energy. I just said, let me finish. Look, if you to go out, Kelly, with a pan, you will get a lot of money. But at that point, listen though, ma'am, you got to hear what I'm saying. It's not going to work for you. If you go out there, why you think dudes will give you money, Kelly?
No. I'm gonna put my bummy clothes on. I'm not gonna take a shower. Kelly. I'm gonna throw my hair in a messy bun. Okay. I'm gonna put my messy clothes on. Okay. My painting clothes on. I'm gonna really
we can spot the potential. We can see the potential through the bummy clothes.
All right, pick somebody. Once you pick somebody and then send them out there and then see how. And then see how they do.
She full of shit. She do it. It's the same thing. You go to a club and you ask for a drink. You gonna get it. Why? Thirsty niggas want, look, you know, we don't get into that. I had one more thing to add though on this.
I have a question when you're done.
This is the problem where we see. Look at the reverse of it. Look in California where they taking these hotels and they put them inside these hotels. You know what I'm saying? Look in Seattle, look in all these different places. As they do it, the people, because people are naturally lazy. Just keep it funky. People are naturally lazy. People don't want to get up. People don't want no structure in their lives. You think they want to get up and go to work at 6, sometimes to, I don't know the normal work hours, 6 to 4, 5, whatever it is.
Like 6 to 8.
Or whatever the normal nigga work hours. You think they want to do that?
No, you're talking about hours. I thought you were talking about workout.
Oh, yeah, no, work hours. No, they don't want to do it. So if anything comes up that actually assists them on being lazy, they're going to do it. They're making these houses in California right now. And actually, when they start actually adding these things, they're not incentive programs. Incentive by definition is something that encourages you to do better. These are lifestyle programs. So what you see, if you have lifestyle programs like this, the homeless rate in California is increasing now since they're actually having these lifestyle programs. Same thing. When you have welfare and all that shit was designed to be incentive programs, it turned into a lifestyle programs. Guess what you have? You have lazy motherfucking hoes that say, I want to live off this shit for 18 years. And they say, oh shit, hold up. The 18 years is coming up. Lil JoJo is 16. Guess what she gonna do? Pop out another baby. Get her, renew her lease. Ooh, that's good. She gonna renew her lease by popping that JoJo part 2. And that's what we see. It's lifestyle programs. And if you create an easy way of lifestyle for any individual, because humans are naturally lazy, especially in the age right now we live of technology, of assistant programs, not just assistant programs as far as that, police, fire, all that kind of stuff like that. People naturally lazy. Internet, they don't want to go to work. They're ready to sit on TikTok and Instagram all day. So now if you give them tools, look at Kelly Hood.
Niggas is gonna drop $40, $50 in your fucking lap just off that shit right there. Cut it the fuck out, Kelly. Hey, calm down. Niggas don't even want to see that.
Hey, look. And you know what a nigga do, Kelly? A nigga said they'll look past all the little fucked up hair that you did, right? They said, you know what, I can take her and clean her up. And I can get some pussy tonight. Nigga, a nigga might drop you $100. You might get 2 niggas and they drop you $100. Try and watch.
Yeah. Hey, in fact, Kelly, I know exactly where you go hang out at. Go right here on 22nd, on 22nd over here by E-Boy. Right when you get off of I-4. Go and post your ass up over there in front of that Burger King and see if not 50 niggas come up there trying to drop 100 in the pockets.
They're trying to drop 100. They're try to drop some. No, fuck. Keep it funky. They're gonna try to drop some dick. They're trying to drop no. I mean, the money gonna come, but they gonna try to drop some dick.
Yeah. But they gonna leave with money though.
That's a privilege of being a woman.
Logic be the first one to do it too.
She would end the night with
Trick Daddy Logic.
I'm good on that, nigga. I get my shit the right way, nigga. I go to the bars, nigga.
I know that's right.
How many of y'all think you could survive if you were homeless? Like if you had to be homeless for like 30 days?
I can survive easy. But I mean, I was trained to survive.
I was about to say, I've lived in the woods.
You have no friends, no resources, no money. Like you had to. Got kicked out.
Yes, I was trained to survive. Like I can survive, but the average nigga can't survive. The niggas that can survive, let's be honest, you're probably talking about less than 3% of Americans that can survive 30 days off the grid, off everywhere else. Small percentage.
I think you're being generous with 3%. I'd venture to say like 1% can actually survive basically off the grid, homeless and all this shit. Yeah, only 1% of y'all. Y'all ain't. America's not built like that. Way too many luxuries. Nigga, these niggas can't go a day without their cell phones. Cut the crap off.
They can't do without social media.
Talking about homeless and then foraging for their own. Come on, bro. Like, stop it.
They will be panhandling. They will be panhandling.
2 days of that pussy. How in the fuck you think they gonna survive off the grid? Ain't no pussy in the wilderness. What, you gonna fuck a tree?
Hey, I can't do a day without the Lapeef Network, bro. You right on.
There you go. Hey, Jay, go ahead, take us home, bro.
Take us home. This shit just getting good, JR. What the fuck?
We was only supposed to be on for 2 hours, man. It's football.
Nah, you good. I lost my train of thought. Yeah.
Hey, Hank, what's the score?
7-6. Giants up.
Fuck out of here.
So.
Hey, now you want to say something now, Jay. Here you go.
Giants!
He ain't shit.
Now that was the last topic, though, man. I appreciate everybody that blessed the platform today. A lot of good perspectives, a lot of good conversations going on. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, shout out to the sponsor, Teej Hanley. Feel Teej, uncomplicated skincare for men, 30% off along with a free gift.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Shout out to Teej.
Hey, shout out to Crew Season, man. Hey, if y'all ain't went out and got y'all some beatbox, go get you some beatbox and make sure you tag Crew Season, bro. Big shout out to Crew Season. We fucking with y'all boys over there, man. Hey, grab you some beatbox, tag Crew Season. Don't forget to do that today.
And I can vouch for the beatbox. I had a chick the other day. I gave her like a half a beatbox, and I was beating that box. Hey, so look, you niggas out there want y'all a quick piece of get them chicks and beatbox. And look, if you don't beat that pussy, if you don't beat that box, I will refund your money.
And throw on an oatmeal pie.
2 oatmeal pies.
And a nutty buddy.
Hey, and this nigga Captain, he ain't do no box.
Oh man. Hey,
Captain.
we got the super chats. These came
Yeah, I got the super chats right here. Cola Nix had just became a member and actually donated some money earlier. She says, Hink, you are a Funko Pop collector.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Yeah, she got good eyes, man.
Homie Talk Podcast, $10. The reality is money is a tool that changes personal situations. Having money allows you to have more time for the things you want to do, including family. Appreciate that $10. Thank you. Perry Unlikely $4.99. Facts example. The most impressive thing about LeBron James is the level of expectation placed on him so young and how he has handled it. Yeah, salute to LeBron. I think he handled it pretty well.
Now, the most impressive thing about LeBron James is them 2 boys he got coming up.
Yo, yeah. Rebellious Videos, $2 says, Quest, they should have never gave you ninjas money.
Hey, man. Hey, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
The Will, $5. Also, remember Facts Quest. I've heard some of these dudes making a stack a day in certain cities.
Damn.
Hey.
Marcel, last
Draining Kelly account.
Also a member.
I'm gonna go do it today. Challenge accepted.
I was stationed in Hawaii and the homeless had cell phones.
Yeah, I almost got them too.
Yeah.
I almost got them too, bro.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
And sit in the corner and go plug their phones in, bro.
No, he in Hawaii. When I lived in Hawaii, this is now. Damn, Kelly, to your thing. I didn't think about Hawaii. Hawaii, the homeless live off the fucking grid. Yes, they go and they do shit unlike America though, because it's food sources all over Hawaii. Like they live on the beaches. So I take that back. In Hawaii, and they actually eat the natural resources and all that shit. They'll go crabbing. They'll do all that shit. In Hawaii, yes, it's feasible. But in America, let me see you go crabbing in fucking downtown fucking LA. What food source you gonna eat? Rats? Oh, what, digging in trash cans? Hawaii it's a paradise. You know what I'm saying? You got fruit hanging everywhere, nigga. It's like the Garden of Eden out that bitch. You know what I'm saying? All the thing you ain't got is naked bitches running around now.
Oh, it's too early. It's too early. Hey man, we appreciate you guys tuning in to Lapeef Sundays. Thank you, Mr. Logic, for coming in, cranking it up a notch. Quest, appreciate you for getting the chat together as usual. Just thank everybody, man.
Kelly, thank you for being amazing. And Carmen, thank you for coming on.
And thanks, Kelly, for being such an amazing panelist today.
Yeah, let's get on that corner. Go live on Instagram when you're on that corner.
Hey, Carmen, you're a good sport, man. We appreciate your input.
Yeah, we got to come back, Carmen. All right, thank you guys. Y'all enjoy y'all Sunday. Go Bears. Go Bears, Hank.
Bear down, baby.
Bear down. guys haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the greatest network ever. Make sure you guys feel the tease. That link is in the description. Just tuning in, you missed a great show. Catch it on replay. Thank you guys for all the support. It's the last track.